Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing okay. How are you doing, Q? I hear a
I'm fine.
child. Is it your neighbor?
Oh crap! I should switch my mic.
No, no, we can barely hear it. It's just that I know you have a noisy a noisy kid above you, and so
Is it better like this?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's the child upstairs. I can't hear it with the headset. Sorry.
nice. All right. So, what do you have in store for us today?
I think we're gonna not copy, take inspiration and recreate a tool we've seen with some WeWeb users on product hunt inside WeWeb. It's called bento.me, and it's kind of a link tree. I don't know if people know link tree actually, but like the most of the influencers and like CEOs and other people that have an online presence, they want to share links about themselves online. So like their Instagram, their LinkedIn, their I don't know Pinterest, and you've got services that create small landing pages for you with all these social networks links. And the biggest one was Linktree, but let's say it's kind of ugly. And so people are kind of creating new services around this. And one that was on product is called Bento. It's really gorgeous, and we're trying to recreate this inside WeWeb.
Nice. Hi, Jonathan. I hope you're feeling
Hey,
well. Hope everything is okay on your side. And I'm actually currently looking for Bento's social media because I wanted to say on Twitter, I wanted to tag them, and I finally
yeah.
found it, but they didn't make it easy for me to find their own
Do
Twitter
you want to
handle.
share
So
your screen, by the way?
yeah, I can. I can. Let me let me share
Because
this.
I've just seen that you were on Bento, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is Bento, and if I go on, I can log in. So what we're going to do today is actually build this page. But if I log in, this is my profile, and I only added Twitter, but I could add another. Don't Yeah. So here we go. Actually, I can add another here. I guess.
My
Let me find my own LinkedIn. Try to find mine. Boom. And add a new link. All right.
noise.
And I have this one here. So yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, and basically today we are going to do the logging page,
Yeah.
which is not that complex, except for one thing is that you see that you can sign in with Google. Yeah, this thing we won't be able to do. Sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler alert. It's big SVGs. It's a LOTI file, and we can't integrate them for now, except if it's one big SVG. But in this case, it's like lots of divs that are moving. But the thing we will do, and that's cool to do, is that you can sign in with Google, but if you begin to enter your email in the email input, yeah, the CTA, the button actually changes to let you log in with email and password. And we'll be able to do this in WeWeb thanks to the new states. And that'd be cool.
Nice. All right. Should I let you share your screen?
Yep. Let me switch you on my other screen and share mine. Boom. And open the project actually. So we created the project already during the French lives that we are doing on Mondays. So we'll create, you know what? Let's just recreate a new one from scratch. So go to
I
dashboard.
actually just created in the tutorial. I just created a blank
Oh,
one called Bento.
nice.
And I
Thanks.
thought maybe you're using variables or something, but
Yeah, that's quite smart because I was like, I will create a new page, and then I remembered what we were doing for a rally, and I was like, yeah, maybe I will create a new project. So first thing is that I will create the login page. So login and MC section. And first thing I will do is also open bento.me and go on their login page. Yeah, so here. Okay, I will zoom it a little bit, and then I will add a div, like a blank section, which is actually already 100 VH, if I remember well. So, oh no, okay, so we'll do this. So VH is viewport height, so it's basically the percentage of the height of the viewport that you want to take. So the viewport is actually the size of your screen, so it can be desktop, mobile, tablet, anything. And this will always be a percentage relative to the height of the device. So it's really useful, especially if you want to do like sections like this that are taking the whole height. So you just use the 100 VH setting, and you've got your section that's taking the whole height of the screen. Then we see that it's basically a big column and a second column. So with the form and the text, and one with the image. So what we'll do, because I'm a big fan of columns, but you can use flex boxes also if you want, is that we'll create columns. And we actually have already two columns. And I will also set the height at 100 VH. Okay, so it's taking the whole space. Now I will do the easiest thing is adding the image on the right. So here, actually I will center it already. And for this, so I will take a screenshot, and sadly we won't be able to do the animations because we need to use the Lottie integration, which we don't have right now. I think it's on the roadmap, but won't be right now.
Yeah. And I was wondering, like, could we get away with doing a GIF of that?
No, because
No.
I wanted to do this, but actually if you inspect it, it's not even a big SVG. You see, like it's like a lot of divs,
Yeah.
which style is changing every second,
Okay.
and it's generated by Lottie normally. So it's not even, like it's actually HTML. So that's really the cool thing, is that it's really fast to load, and it adapts really well to any size. So it's actually really cool to do this, even for a UX perspective, but you can't copy it. So we got the new image, downloads. It's not it's on document, desktop. Yeah, desktop. This one. And what's cool in WeWeb now is that you can crop images inside WeWeb. And it's actually really helpful, because I don't want to crop it before. And bam, I have my image. Fill is okay, yeah. So I have my image. So you'll see that it's a bit pixelated. It's because I've done a screenshot of something that was moving. So when it was like it was always moving. So when the screenshot was done, maybe like the divs were already moving a bit. So the software I'm using to do the screenshot was a bit lost. So that's why it's a bit pixelated. But anyway, we will keep it for now.
It just reminds me, because when you showed how to crop the image, I was thinking, I
Yeah.
bet a lot of people don't know you can do that. And I think
Yeah.
it was last week, Wes didn't know about the reusable formulas. And Wes is one of our, like, he uses WeWeb a lot. He's really good in WeWeb. And I thought we
Mm.
need to do, I wonder, like, I would be interested, maybe, Jonathan, like, if there's like, the feature that's kind of hidden, but that's really cool.
That actually.
Yeah, and that you
Otherwise,
know.
he won't be able to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, you need to know it. Or like on Monday when I showed, that, well, we can show it later, but that placeholder,
Yeah.
when the placeholder moves up.
Oh yeah, I actually didn't know this one, so I was
Yeah.
really happy to discover it. So we'll definitely use this and have a better UX than Bento, but yeah, let's wait for this. I'm not rushing them, but actually You see this thing right here where the label, it's obfuscated when you begin to type. It's really bad for UX. So there's ways to, the old way was just to have a label above it, and now we have like the Google way inside where you will see it, like the label will go up when we begin to type. But first, let's begin with the heading, then add a text, and begin with the typography. So what I do normally is that I use my small Font Ninja extension. So yeah, here. So you see that it's actually Inter, the font Inter, it's 32 pixels. And the color is black, and it's regular, so it's not even bold. So we'll create a typography for this. So we are already using Inter because it's the default one. And let's create a typography, remove the existing ones because I don't need them. Oh, sorry. Create typography, title. It was 32. Yeah, I have a really bad memory, so you will see me just changing tabs all the time. And it's normal, so regular, and line 8 was 40 pixels. Okay. And the text is login to your bento. Your bento. Then this one, 20 pixels and 60. Okay. So typography, subtitle, already forgot 20 and 36. 20, 6 and normal. Okay, so then I have to change the color. So 60. Voice. And change the text. So the text is good to have you back. And also let's already center them on the page like this. And now what do I want to do? I want to add some margin or paddings. I don't know which one was used here. So apparently it was margin. Ah, come on. Okay, so MT4, it's margin top 4, so 16 pixels. So let me add this. Margin top 16 pixels. Okay. Then I have my form, so I will use a form container. Why? Because you should always have, like, if you're having a form inside WeWeb, like with inputs or toggles or anything like this, you should always encapsulate this inside a form container, because it's like in HTML, when you use a form, you have like a form HTML element. So it's like what we have in the form container. And having this, it enables you to do workflows and form submits that validates the data. Because if you do workflows on buttons, for example, submit buttons only, you won't validate the data inside the form. So it's best practice to use a form container. Then inside my form container, I will add a flexbox, just a div actually, inside it. And why? It's because I want to have like two form inputs. And last time I used columns, and actually it was really hard to use. And as just I said, you can actually use divs, make it a flexbox, and use column gaps, which are amazing. I love column gaps. You will see how they work.
Yeah, me too.
So this one, I want to improve it. So I think the corner radius was like 8 pixels because I still remember 8 pixel. Still remember the live on Monday, hopefully. So corner radius is 8 pixels. So corner radius is to have like the borders rounded on the edges. So you see here it's slightly rounded. It's really hard to see, but you'll see when we will add like the background color. This one should be email. And what was the trick actually to get the placeholder to go up?
So there you go. You have it now in the style. Advanced
Yeah,
placeholder.
advanced placeholder. Say, see this when you begin to type, it goes up. Really, really cool. It's in style, not settings, so that's why I was I
Yeah.
was searching for it in settings.
Yeah.
And you
Me
can
too.
obviously change the animation, but the default one is really like enough for what we want to do. Then background color. What's this one? So background color. It's not here. Where is it? Maybe it's in the div. I don't know. So I will cheat and sorry.
I was gonna say I can cheat if you want.
I will pick the color. It's telling me that it's gray. It's white. Doesn't make any sense. Why?
I think we had trouble finding it on Monday as well.
Yeah.
I'll cheat and go in the other project.
Because I think it's not in the input. Maybe it's added on a div, but we need to find it. So if I do color, muted, background
It's
color.
F7, F7, F7.
Yeah, thanks. Just when I found it.
Oh,
Nice.
sorry.
No worries.
J'avais l'air saying F2, F2, F2. Okay.
F2? It's F2, F2, F2. But yeah, I use the text color. We don't. I need the background color, obviously. So actually, there's no border, so let's remove them and F2, F2, F2. Yeah, nice. Thanks, guys, for helping. And then the placeholder. So if you use the advanced placeholder, you can't change the text color, like the placeholder using the text color. You need actually to select the placeholder, which now is a p tag, and then use the color. I think that it's the one we use like for the subtitle, and right here. Yeah. So you see, we have the same thing. The only thing I have to change is I think there's some padding. So 12 everywhere. So I will set the same. Okay. And maybe it's not the same size also. It's in 820 pixel, 844. Let me 844. Yeah, it's the same now. When we're typing, we still have these nice effects. Now what we can do is that we can just copy paste it and use the
Space between?
space
I don't know.
between.
What does it
I
look
think
like
we
on
use.
Didn't they have a fixed width? Not on the not on the inputs, but on the.
It should be like 50 for each that they touch, I think. Okay, so this one now is actually password. 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 Make it required. This one too. And now we can use the column gaps or row gaps. I never remember.
In this case, it's a column, but I think you need to remove the 50% because it's
Yeah,
with a
exactly.
column gap.
I don't remember how we've done it last
And
time.
then if you align to the left, it should be okay.
Like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was taking the whole width here. I think we managed to do this on the other live.
Yeah,
Like
but
here
isn't
it's
it? I think maybe there's a fixed width on the container of the. I mean, on the form. You know, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a max width of 448 on the form.
Yeah. Right. I will need to do this. So inside my
Yeah.
flexbox, I will need to have a div, and I need to throw everything inside my div. So here, hopla. Vertical, please. Yeah. Then this one has a max width of
448.
448.
Yeah.
Okay, and then on the flexbox, I can center it. Nice. Now I can even like do space between. Yeah. I don't even need the column gaps anymore. Or at least if it's a really small screen, maybe. Then my form container needs to have some margin. Yeah, so this one, margin top of 80 pixels. That's huge. Okay, margin. Up. 80 pixels. Now I need this small R word. So I will add some text, text here. Let's just use R. It's like the title, but smaller. So, 14 pixels and it's 600 of weight. So 14 pixels, weight is semi-bold. And then we need to do character case, uppercase to uppercase it. Nice. Now I need some margins too. Okay, so it's got a height of 64 pixels, so I need to add 32 pixels of margin on top and bottom. You don't need margins anymore, so we'll remove it. And this one needs to be signed in with Google. Sign in with Google. How's the font, by the way? 20 pixels and 700. Okay, so 20 pixels and bold. We want it to take the whole width, so we'll set the width 100%. And because it's a button, we can add an icon either on the left or the right. So here we need on the left, and we'll change this icon to FA Brands and use Google here. Then set the size of, I don't remember the size of this thing. No. It is VG 816, so it's 16 here. So it's smaller actually. Okay. The color is white. And let's add some padding or margin here. So there's VG. 8 pixels. Okay. So margin 8. Okay. Yeah, also the
Starting to look
radius.
good.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I think it's looking almost like this. And then the or sign up. So I need the small link. Let's add some text outside the form container, but still inside the div. So we do this. Or sign up. Margin top 32 pixels. Where are you? Margin top 42. And typography. So if I say font, 12 pixels, 400, and the color is 108. Okay. 12. Yeah, it was 12. Yeah. 100 is normal. And then here it was RGB. I think it was 108. Yeah. What? Oh.
Yeah, sometimes we have that old color picker that pops up.
Yeah, this one is really old, actually. It was from one of the first versions of the product. So it's, yeah, almost collector now.
It's an Easter egg.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we have our like base layouts. What we could do is just remove the margins, the paddings from the columns.
Oh yeah, good catch.
And now we need to do actually the hard stuff. So changing the button when we type
Oh,
the
I
email.
think there's just one last. I can't. Maybe you did it
Yeah,
at the beginning, but on the section, did you box the section?
this one, yeah, with the
No, the
div
top
here.
the section at the very top.
What do you mean, like 100 VH?
Now the max width, if you put boxed, that's what we're recommending in the academy on the section to put a max width
Ah,
boxed at 13
okay.
pixels because that way on very wide screens it won't it won't
Hmm.
go it won't be too
Yeah,
wide.
okay. A good call, yeah. Because it will be really wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So now we need this. So it's not on the password, it's really on the email when something is entered. You can, like, we need to display a different button and remove this text. So there are two ways to do this: either change this button in real time or have a different button. And that's the way I will use. And why? It's because later we'll add workflows to them, and adding different workflows to different buttons is easier because there's one button that will actually do a form submit and the other one that will actually like do a Google sign in. So you really want to distinguish between both of them. And actually, I just realized that my text is still too big for the button, so I will just change this. Oh, okay. That's weird. When it's responsive, the text is bigger. I think, yeah, okay, never mind. I think that was an error on their side. That's because when I do this, yeah, the text is smaller. It should be the opposite. But yeah. It's because it's supposed to be like this. Okay. Never mind. So what I will do is that I will actually copy this button, remove the icon, let's call it login, and use a dark black background. Okay. So now I need to actually create a state that I will be able to apply on both buttons and the or text to display them or not according to what's actually in the input. So the best place to create this state is actually the form container, because when you create a state, you are able to apply it to an element's children. So you actually need all the elements that will use this state to be inside this element, and they are all in the form container. So let's just create it here. And you see here we have the default states, and I will add a new state that I will call email input is not empty, and I will apply it to the children. Then I will need to actually bind it to a condition that will say if the state is triggered or not. So to do this, we'll actually use the email input, and I forgot to rename them, so we won't know. So let me change them. Email input and password input. I go back on my form container state. Now you see I have my email inputs. And one way to know if something was typed by the user inside this input is to check the length of the value of this input. Because if something is like written, it's actually a list of characters, like a string is actually an array of characters. So the length is different than 0, because if it's equal to 0, that means that your array is empty, so there's no characters in your string. If it's above 0, you've got characters in your string. Let me just remove this. And so
That's
if I
something
do,
I've always found a little bit actually in programming, that you can access, for example, the index of a text is
yeah,
kind of strange.
because actually in programming, a string is an array, but you don't have to handle like the indexes and stuff. It's just like the computer knows that it has to display it with all the elements in the arrays all together. But it's actually stored, like if you just like for your knowledge, but it's actually stored like an array. So you can use most of the like text length under the hood is actually a dot length, like the array length, which is here. So I'm pretty sure we can even use this one. So I can do text length is above 0. Is not empty. Yeah, so that's here. That's it. And yeah, I can even be more explicit if you want. So true, false. So what this is doing is that it's checking if the text length is above 0, then we send back true. Otherwise, we send back false. And actually, yeah, sorry.
No, so when we send back true, it means it meets the condition of
Should
our
be,
state,
yeah.
which is
Yeah, the state is activated, otherwise it's not. And again, if you want to simplify it, and do already this, because this is actually a comparison. And in programming, a comparison will always yield true or false, because you're just asking if this above 0 or not. So it's exactly the same. Actually, if is really useful if you want to send something back. Another thing, for example, you could say yes, then no,
Okay.
and then you've got the change.
Okay.
But because we're using true or false, you can just have this.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize that. I didn't think about it that way.
And then what we can do is that on the or we can add the form container email is not empty state. Yeah, actually it's too long, so we don't to the end. And because we're in the state, everything that will change here will apply only when the state is true. So it's activated. So I will say display off. Same for this button. Display off. And the opposite for this one. So display on. And by default, the display is off. And so you see when I'm typing, it's changing, and maybe I've done something bad because my other button is not activated anymore. So let me add it back. Not the axis display. You know it's on. And by the way, I should add back the margin. So let's do this. Yeah, so it's 64, I think. So here, margin top, 64. So by default, it should not display. And here, it should display. Okay, that works.
It's funny that they leave the or sign up text. Well, I guess, yeah, you can start typing. Sometimes you're confused and you start typing an email.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
even though you want to sign up. Yeah.
It's best practice to always have it somewhere. So
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a little blinking, so maybe it's because I've added the margin. Yeah, the margin is only. I should add the margin when always, like not only when the state is up. Or maybe it's because I have small pixels of difference. I don't know where it's coming from. At least it worked. We'll be able to change this later.
It's not because of the placeholder that goes up that moves the.
No, I think it's because of what? Check. 64. It's because this thing has a line 8. No? Maybe. So it's not like it's not pixel perfect. You see the small pixels above and under it. So yeah. But you'll see the logic, and now it's working. That's nice.
Very cool.
I think that's all we wanted to do for today.
Okay.
So,
that's pretty good already.
Yeah, next time we'll do the logic already of the page. The sign up we'll do at the end because it's almost like the login.
Okay.
But I think that next time. So let me actually sign in with my accounts. Remove this. We'll do the design for this. And then the last thing would be to, this will actually be quite tricky. And the last thing would be like the small.
Does it do? Oh, well, yeah. So we'll do that in April, right?
Hopefully. The last thing we'll do is that we'll connect this to a database so that we save people's account already, and also people's social networks, and we are able to display them back.
Cool.
And yeah.
Very nice. Were there any questions in the chat before we hop off? Feel free to ask us anything, really. We've had a few questions recently on pricing on Twitter, so just so you know, we are working on a new pricing system to try to lower the barrier to entry, and it should be out in a few weeks. And what else? What other questions we've had? Yeah, I think maybe one thing that I can cover quickly is let me move this away from my screen and share. This one is so when you is handling user roles that you have in Xano. So let me go back to my dashboard, because we had someone who was using Xano auth, but in their the role was not in the user table. They have a separate table in Xano with a reference to with the role, and then in the user table they reference that role. And so the trick to do that, they were having trouble doing it. The trick to do that is to, in Xano, get the role as use an add-on to get the role as a list of object, and then in WeWeb you will, instead of having the role as a text, you have it as a list of object, and that's how you can get the role. So that was a bit tricky. If you wanna, you can check it out in the community. It's I replied with a detailed video in the thread, but maybe that's something that other people are struggling with, so I thought I'd share. All right, it looks like we don't have any questions for today. That's okay. Yeah, so next week we keep bento. And
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And for those of you, if we will open the WeWeb Academy, the level 1 of the WeWeb Academy, on the 1st of March to beta testers only. So if you've signed up to be a beta tester, you will hear from me on the 1st of March. And we will hopefully make the Academy public 1 week later, maybe 2 if I need to re-record too many videos, but it's coming soon. So pretty excited about that. All right. Thanks everyone for showing up. Thanks, Q.
Thanks. See you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Quentin, you can DM me in the community, and I'll send you an invite. Bye, everyone.
See ya.